The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Daryl Walter Show. I am your host, Daryl Walter, and happy International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Month. All month long, I want to celebrate women by focusing and interviewing women from all walks of life. So last week, we had my guest, Maya B. She was a former contestant on Sunday's Best. So we got to speak with her and really just talk about her journey and her experience. And today I'm really excited. She's actually one of my dream guests to have on this show, Tymara Walker. She is an artist. She is a singer. She is a songwriter. She is a creative. She is a mom. She's a wife. She is everything. She's like one of the hardest working women I know in the industry. So I'm excited to talk with her. So welcome, everybody. Do me a favor. Click like, click share, tag people in it, because baby, when I tell you we got a whole lot to talk about, we got a lot to work through, some technical difficulties and all. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, a lot of church stuff this week. So I'm looking forward to maybe getting Tamara's feedback on some of these topics we're going to talk about. So let's get into what went viral. And this is going to be good. I think this is going to be good. CeCe Winans. Priscilla Marie Winans Love, otherwise known as CeCe. Some of y'all know her as Jesus' little sister. Okay, she is the closest thing to Jesus. So let me just put a disclaimer here. I am not dragging CeCe Winans. Okay, I don't want the smoke. I don't want the retribution from y'all. I'm not dragging her. However, recently, a video came into the surface on the social media internet streets, right? And basically, CeCe is talking about a time where she declined to be part of Whitney Houston's video, I'm Every Woman, that was performed originally by Chakakhan, written by Ashford and Simpson, amazing singers and songwriters. But basically, in this video, she is just talking about how it's important to be set apart and to have standards, right? And so she shared the story of how she had a famous friend, Whitney Houston, who asked her to be a part of the video. But basically, she already knew she wouldn't be a part of the video because the song did not align with what CeCe and Winans' beliefs are, right? The song starts off with, I can cast a spell. And CeCe said, I'm not singing nothing demonic. She called the song demonic. That's what CeCe said. Okay. And Whitney was like, yeah, girl, I know you right. Okay. I get it, understand. And CeCe went on to, really preach a message about having standards and being set apart and being able to do, to be in the will of God, right? To be separate. She said you got to be a difference. Now, here's why I brought this up. And the reason I brought it up, as I listened to the story, I was not dragging her, but I personally said I felt uncomfortable. Number one, we all know Whitney's love for the Lord. And I know that's not what Cece, her intentions were. But it came across kind of like, I'm here, you're here kind of thing. Another part of the puzzle that I want to bring up is that Cece Winans, what she does for a living is ministry, right? Ministry is work and work is ministry. And I think Cece she has privilege. She is in a position where she can choose the work that she wants to do and the work that she does not want to do. And it made me think of many artists who are in position, and I'm not saying this was the case for Whitney, but it could be very well a possibility where her and the record company went back and forth, and it was something maybe she didn't want to do, but something she had to do. Also, let's take out of the equation being a musical artist. Let's say you're a secretary or you're working at the grocery store, and maybe I see Cece as the one who's making the money. She's in a position, she's married, she has help with the kids. She doesn't come from dysfunction per se, two-parent household, which I think is very important also. So I think Cece is in a position that a lot of people are not in. And so as she was making her preaching, I think on one end she's right for her convictions. Um, I want to be careful how I say this. I think also she has the privilege of being able to make those decisions that are not as easy for others. So I'm gonna leave it alone because I feel like I'm walking on this thin line, and I don't want y'all to drag me in these CC Winans streets. Okay, so I want to hear from y'all. What do you think? Do you think she was right? Do you agree with her? Do you disagree with her? Do you feel like maybe she went too far? All I will say is I felt uncomfortable, and then I kind of want to know what Chaka Khan had to say. Just because we know Chaka Khan is viral. And you know what? I want to skip this. I want to go to Chaka Khan first, Kwame. Speaking of Chaka Khan, recently, our beloved Chaka Khan, she issued an apology. She said, as artists, we are unfairly put into boxes, categories, or on lists. Being an artist or a musician is not a competition, it's a gift, for which I am truly grateful. The 10-time Grammy winner continued, it was not my intention to cause pain or upset anyone. To anyone that felt this way, I sincerely apologize. Now, I don't know if people are going to agree with me. I'm just going to say this. I don't know if you all heard the videos recently, and I didn't want to repost them, but there was an interview which I felt like it was a setup a little bit, but basically, she was interviewed about "Sweet Thing," which she wrote, and she was asked about Mary J. Blige's if she told Mary J. Blige, that she didn't sound good on the album. And then there was another instance where Chaka Khan was informed of the list of best singers, and she was below a lot of female singers. I'm going to say this. I don't think Chaka Khan should have apologized. I don't think she needed to apologize. Apologize for what? She said what she said. Now, here's my thing. Being it International Women's Month, okay, let's talk about it. A lot of these rappers get on here, I'm the best rapper, I'm the best, I'm the best. What is wrong with Chaka Khan talking her stuff? She has the right to. If we were to be honest, she can still sing flat-footed. Regardless of what she's on or not, she can sing. And I understood she had to apologize, for social media stuff, but I don't think she needed to apologize. Mm-mm. And I kind of felt her on it. And these lists are people's opinions. And maybe the way she said it was a little harsh. But can we just be honest? Chaka Khan is an Aries. Okay, I'm an Aries. If you know an Aries, one thing we're going to do is tell you the truth. And we're going to tell it like it is. So I personally agreed with Chaka Khan. I personally felt like if she were a man, they wouldn't have went as hard as her. It was a setup. And she said what she said, though. And you know what? You know what? Let me shut up. Because Adele can't seem to keep her concerts together. Adele can't even show up. Okay. Let's go on to the last one. Now, this last one of what went viral is featuring me. Okay. Now, recently I had posted a video on TikTok where I was talking about an incident where I attended a church. And during the rehearsal, wherever the choir was together, she asked me, she asked me how my mom died. So we got on my mom passed. And she asked me, am I the reason my mom passed? Now, let me say this. When I tell my stories on TikTok or anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, when I tell my stories, okay, I do not say names. I try to keep anonymity out of respect for the person or the place, okay? Howsoever, she decided to respond under my comments. And y'all, I was really trying to hold restraint. I was trying to be classy. I was trying to, as Michelle Obama eloquently said, take the high road. I was trying to go high. But then I thought about all of my experiences of her. I'm not going to say her name, but let's just say it's the capital of France. Go ahead and play the video, Kwame, because I just had to. I wanted y'all to see this because this cracks me up.
Not bashing your sexual preference, but tell social media the real reason you left is because they found out you were gay, period. Let me just start off by saying this. This comment and you alone has triggered me to a point you don't ever have to worry about me stepping in a church or coming to church for any kind of reason. You literally have no clue how nice, nasty you are. Not bashing your sexual preference, well, you are. And you are the kind of person who says, I don't hate gay people, I have gay friends. The real reason I left, if you followed me on TikTok, is on there. But see, your wide back, no neck having pathetic ass didn't even take the time to follow me and look at my content. But because you are so nice, nasty, and narcissistic, it's all about you. When I left the church that we both attended, and I'm not even going to name the name out of respect for the church, and I would hate to even associate you with the church because they don't deserve that. Because when I left the church, I called each and every auxiliary department I was involved in and had a private conversation with them. But see, you're a shit starter and you like to start drama and you like to be involved in stuff that you have no business being involved in. So this comment is not only null and void, but it makes you look stupid. Okay, let's go into it. I left the church for my own personal reasons, and those who needed to know, I informed them. But because you're a gossiper, because you're messy, because you're ignorant, this is the comment that you hide behind. Not bashing your sexual preference. You're homophobic and you're a basher, yo. Let me go a step further to say the same way I have your number, you have my number, and we have not talked in years. And to come on my post with no followers and no one you're following and not even a post, you tried it on so many levels. I have no interest in saying your name. You are the church bully that I reference and I'm referring to. That's you. Completely disgusting. Pathetic. You are the low vibrational plate. Since we on it, can't sing. Couldn't hold a note if your life depended on it. And this pettiness comes from my experience of you. So try Jesus and don't try me. A hit dog holler and your wide back, no neck, fire breathing ass have proven that point. Peace.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be back with my special guest, Tymara Walker. I'll see you in the 1 and 2. Peace. We can go Baby, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Y'all, I am so excited for my guest today, Tymara Walker. She is an artist, she is a singer, she is a songwriter, classically trained pianist, teacher. She is everything. So, welcome to the Daryl Walter Show, Tymara Walker. Hello and welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Okay, welcome to the Daryl Walter Show. Did you see that read?
Not only did I see it, I almost choked and died, but by the grace of God, I'm still here. I was hollering.
So can I tell? So I had to play that video because you know when you get so fed up with somebody, like if you follow me on social media, I like to take the high road. I like to be classy. I don't talk about nobody. But this lady had pushed every button on the book, and I had picked up my phone and I just hit record, and then I went to bed. I haven't even looked at it because I was like, oh my God. So when I saw it before I played it, before I came on the show, I was like, not no neck, wide barrel. I was like, not fire breathing, not wide.
Yeah, that made my day. I am fully awake now.
So I want to ask you, have you dealt with church bullies?
Baby, what? I'm a PK. So I've literally had church bullies since October 16th, 1978.
Okay, let's talk. So you are from Ohio.
Yes.
Daddy was a pastor.
Daddy was a pastor, and I was in Toledo, Ohio, and my father built a church from the ground up. And my grandfather actually founded the church. It's called Christian Community Church. My father built a building from the ground up. And, you know, that's an amazing accomplishment in the 80s, for any time, but in the 80s for a Black man who was single with 2 daughters and just built this church. That's an amazing thing, but it also brings a lot of haters and a lot of jealousy and a lot of bullies. And so the thing about it is that my situation was a little different because my parents divorced when I was 4, but my father had custody of myself and Danielle. And this will explain a lot to people who don't know. I may come across harsh, but I was raised by a man. And I was raised by a man as the oldest. And he knew those bullies were there because he was a PK. So it was never oh, just turn the other cheek. I'm being totally honest with y'all. That is not what he said. I can't really say what he said, but the instruction was never for me to allow a bully or a person who felt like they were going to overcome what I'm doing just because they are who they are. And me being a pastor's kid does not mean I have to tolerate that. Didn't, don't, and won't.
To me, my experience, and I follow you on social media, I just love your presence.
Thank
You've
you.
always been confident. I don't see you backing down from anything. I don't see you cowering from anything. You mentioned you were raised by a man. You mentioned being a PK. Were you always this confident person, or did this come as a result of being raised by a man and being raised as a PK?
I'm going to say as a combination of the two, because from what I understand, I've been a trip since I got here.
Okay.
And it was, even though I got on my dad's last nerve and my mom, they still encouraged me to be this. And music was always in the forefront. I literally have a picture of my mother feeding me words while I was singing in front of the church at 2. It wasn't so much about the confidence. It was always just be Tymara. That's why your name is weird. That's why it's spelled the way it is. Don't let these folks mispronounce your name. Be the person that you're supposed to be. And then the resilience that I had to build to make it this far in this industry, because I haven't made it where I want to be yet, but to get this far, there had to be a certain level of tough skin, a certain level of resilience. And it comes across as confidence, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Daryl. Sometimes what people see as confidence is really just my angry response to people attempting to bully me. And I've had people tell me, oh, you need to wait until you calm down. That's why I like that you said you just turned on the camera and went to bed, because Sometimes I've been told many times that my delivery is harsh or I should calm down before I say something. And I see their point in that, but sometimes you need to catch this wreck and you need to get it fresh in how I'm feeling because you didn't take into consideration how I might feel. So when you did that, we're all adults. We all have the right to speak, but the same way you have a right to speak, I have a right to respond. So
amen. Just amen to that. Before we
Mhm.
continue, I was told just make sure you're earring, I guess, the one close to the speaker.
It's probably both of them.
Where's LL Cool J? It's jingling, baby.
It might be all these Alex and Ani bracelets. Let me take this off. I had something to do.
Come on, Alex. Now he bracelets. Fancy.
I had to do something real quick, but yeah, let me take these off. But yeah, it's just confidence is key. But I can't sit up and say, oh yeah, I'm 100% confident all the time because like I said, sometimes it's just motivated from y'all done piss me off.
Yeah, but so you mentioned, let's just talk about it. First of all, I'm so excited. So calm down, Daryl. Don't be so excited. You mentioned your parents encouraged you to be this. They always encouraged you to be Tymara. So let's start from the beginning. For those who don't know, who is Tymara?
Well, Tymara is a woman who started as a little Black girl born in Boston, Massachusetts. Got to shout out my daddy because he was attending Harvard University when I was born because that's just how dope he is. My name actually comes from the concubine, Tamar. Yes, my pastor father named me after a prostitute, but praise the Lord. Yeah, I know.
I feel like there's a deeper reason. Just
I feel like there is. He just never got around to telling me. But I started off as just, a pastor's daughter. My parents were married when I was born. My mother was the choir director. My father was a pastor and played the organ. If he was in the middle of a hoop and the organist couldn't play, he would definitely sit down and play for himself. So it all kind of recycled, and I have become, kind of just a product of that. At the time that I was born, my father was very much extroverted. My mother was very much shy. And somehow they came together and created this. I was raised in Toledo. I went to a Catholic, mostly white, all girls high school where I did nothing but argue about why Black people see Jesus differently. That was a great 4 years. And in that time, I knew that I loved music. I knew that I loved to sing. But I was 12 years old when I sang the solo to a song called If You Can't Say a Word, Just Wave Your Hand. And big youth concert. And I opened my mouth and my father's mouth hit the floor like, what? And it just kind of went on from there. I did musical theater. I went to Bowling Green State University. I did musical theater there. And then my father passed away in 1999 and my whole world just crumbled like a cookie. Yeah. And I made some really bad decisions, one of which I married the devil, literally Satan, married him, put a ring on it. The only two things to come out of that was my wonderful, amazing children who God bless to just look just like me and my now husband, because he can do that. So I was a victim of domestic violence for a long time. Please note, I said I was a victim. I am no longer a victim. I am a victor. That is part of my past. I do not experience that. I have healed. My husband has allowed me to heal. And this is the product of that. Resiliency was not something I was seeking, but it was definitely something God was given, because I heard a lot of no's before I even moved to Las Vegas. Moved here in 2011 with no intention of singing because, baby, I was built like a busted can of Pillsbury biscuits.
Wait, you had stopped singing?
Yeah, quit, done. I moved here. My husband said he hated the snow. I said, I do too. We moved here. I had no intention of performing.
Really?
Because, I was built like this. So not a lot of Vegas stages was really trying to step me like that. And then I got here and I will never forget February 5th, 2011. We were walking on the strip, my first time ever in Vegas. My husband looked up at one of the strip hotels with the screen and said, your name is going to be up there. And I was like, no, it's not, because we about to go back to the house and I'll make this chicken and we're gonna get these kids here and I'm gonna be a secretary. I type 100 words a minute. And he was like, yeah, I said what I said. And then things just happened. I went and auditioned for stuff I knew I would never get. Took my melanated self right onto this audition for the female to be a part of a Frank Sinatra tribute group. I knew they wasn't hiring me, but I went on there anyway and sang the blackest song I could. And from there, it went to go to this open mic. I need to introduce you to them. I need to da-da-da-da-da. And I started in a show at the Westgate and worked my way on up through the House of Blues. Became one of the stars of the Cirque du Soleil Michael Jackson 1 show. And then Cirque sent me to China and Korea and New Zealand. And then I came back, and in the midst of that, same background for Gladys Knight for a second. Came back here and then started singing with Chaka. And then when I started singing with Chakakhan, I've always had a desire to be the recording artist Tymara. But it was really singing with Chaka that was like, I love her. I love the gig. I love the job. But she was the one who was like, I know everybody's told you, but I'm telling you from my platform, there's a reason why you're here. That voice is ridiculous, and you need to do what you need to do. So here we are.
Okay, first of all, I've always known you as a singer, and I would have never assumed you'd been anything else outside of a singer. I would have never guessed that there was a break or a pause or a time where you weren't going to sing. So, one, what made you say, I'm done? What made you say I'm done?
So when I was in Toledo and married to my first husband, I was a gospel artist. Mm-hmm. That's what made me say I'm done. If I'm being 1,000, I was singing background for J Moss, which is a cousin to the Clark sisters.
Yeah.
And that was, and I heard you say this earlier, and I'm gonna say it like this: do I want to be dragged? No, but I welcome all the smoke for what I'm about to say. Singing for J Moss and being a part of the mainstream gospel music industry was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. And when my husband said it was time to move to Vegas, he was not my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend. And I'm telling people I'm about to move cross country. I was living in Detroit because that's where Jay is based out of. And I was living in Detroit and I was traveling all over the country with him. And when John said, let's go, there was no hesitation. I was never like, oh, what I'm going to do? My answer was, I'm going to do anything else but this, because the contradiction between what I was singing and the ministry I was a part of and the actual behaviors and things that were happening in my atmosphere was like night and day of 2 different days of 2 different centuries on 2 different planets. And I'm a PK. So I thought I was going into this, and I know this church environment, and I ain't know nothing. It was just too much. And when he said, let's go to Vegas, I said, okay, but I was done.
Can you give me an example of a contradiction?
Absolutely. So I was with Jay for 2 years, and this is part of my harsh delivery. I do say names. I was with Jay for two and a half years. And we did a lot of like concerts and stuff. I performed with him, sometimes with Fred Hammond, with Marvin Sapp. Sometimes Jay was a headliner. Lot of really big names. And I got that gig because Marvin Winans had a Detroit-based American Idol, and I was in Toledo, drove the 60 miles, went to stay at my mama's house. They had all these singers from Detroit, and I beat all of them. And won the whole thing. And J Moss was a judge, and CeCe Winans was a judge.
Okay.
And so that was when I met them. CeCe said my voice was flawless. Jay said, I love how you throw in runs and then keep it smooth and then throw in runs. And then he hired me the next day. In that time, I'll say this. Went to do a gig once, a tornado came while we were getting ready to perform. So we're on the bottom floor of the TBN building in Atlanta, and this tornado is coming all around. There's all these crazy things going on. This was 2008 or 9. So one of our singers had been displaced by Katrina. she was going through so much. Like, it was so traumatic for her. It triggered all these things from what she experienced, because she was there in Katrina with her daughter, and it just triggered so much. But instead of being concerned about her, one of the artists was worried about the fact that his side piece had just had a baby that day during the tornado, and his wife was there with us, and gave no concern about anything else that was happening. And I don't know these people. This is my first gig, and I'm so like just torn. Like, what am I supposed to do? And it was just the lack of care about what she was going through. And even further on in those experiences, like, there was so much sex involved in this Holy Ghost field. You know what I'm saying? Mary J said, no hateration in this dancerine. All right, no hateration, but it was sex for days. And it was offers for
Not
sex
for
and
days.
requests for sex. Days,
But-
honey. And it was offers and requests and denials and more requests. And then, you know, it was like, I have tattoos. You can't see it because I got on a Tymara shirt today. Hey.
Come on, Tymara shirt.
But I have tattoos right here. And these chicks was dragging me because
For
they
having
wanted me to,
tattoos.
baby wanted me to wear a turtleneck because we was singing at Greater Grace in Detroit, and they didn't want to see nobody to see my tattoos. But then a very well-known gospel artist was singing, and she sang "It Is Well," and her dress was like an inch away from her panties. I was so confused. Like, it was just so many different non-God ordained things, and it was too much. Being a PK and having gone through all of that and realizing that church is a mixing pot, a melting pot for contradiction, but that was too much. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Would you ever go back? So, oh, Jesus. Would you ever go back to singing gospel?
No.
Okay. I can totally see that. One of the reasons I'm having you on my show, because it is International Women's Month. I want to know your plight, your experience as a Black woman in the music industry. Obviously, from the gospel side, you know, to hear you say that it's one of the most traumatic experiences. I just feel like this moment is so freeing for those who are going to be watching now and on the replay, because I know, even as a man, even though I'm gay, as a man in the industry, there are things I see women go through that are just kind of like, wow, that's so unfair, or like that's got to be really stressful. Can you talk to that?
So the biggest thing for women is our appearance. When I moved here, I think a little after I moved here, I locked my hair. And not too long after I locked it, then I shaved the sides and just had a mohawk. So I was getting these gigs to perform at in different showrooms in Vegas, like the Aliante, the Fiesta before it closed down, all the Fiestas. Excuse me, I had a whole lot of offers from a lot of different places. But because I was a Black woman, two things happened. One, I would go into sound check, and before they ever heard my voice, they put in the condenser on the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Because
for
I'm
those
Black.
who don't know what a condenser is, can you just explain what that is?
Basically, it takes off the ability to really have the full volume on the microphone. It automatically puts you at half mute.
So they just assumed that you were a loud Black woman, basically.
Yeah. And it's not just me. It's all the Black women in Vegas. When we show up, they hit that condenser because they feel like we getting ready to just scream and holler. And that's all we got. There's no versatility. There's no ballads. There's no soft singing. They just automatically do that. The problem is that then when you go and you're singing with a live band, nobody's condensed the band, just you. So now you're trying to, people are coming because they're like, oh, Tymara's voice is so powerful. No, it's not, because I'm screaming. And they are, just to be heard to myself, let alone the audience. So that was the first thing. And when I first moved here, I thought I just had to endure it because this is the sound man for the hotel. And they telling me he's union and this is what he gonna do. And, you just got to deal with it. And then two, when I showed up and they put me on half mute, then they wanted me to wear a wig.
Wow.
Because my locks wasn't working for them. And I sweat a lot. And I know it. I get it from my daddy. I sweat a lot. So when you're telling me to put this hat on my head that's got all this hair on it, And then you want me to be up here screaming on this stage for 3 45-minute sets and then a fourth for half an hour. And I have to look uncomfortable. I have to feel uncomfortable. And you got me on mute. That was for the first probably year I was here. I just endured it and made it work. But then when the audiences started asking for me, and when people started sharing flyers and requesting for me to come and sing places, then I was like, so sound man, I didn't see your face on the flyer, bro. Take that condenser off because I'm not screaming. To whoever booked me, I don't have locks anymore. I cut my hair with. I'm bald. Deal with it, or don't have me on the stage. Go get that chick with a wig on. She can't sing. Put her on stage. I don't know what they're gonna do with that wig, but maybe that's what they felt like they gonna pay for their tickets for. And I figured out that we can't be replaced. Black women, we can't be replaced. So you don't have to like what I want, but you're gonna do what I said. Because if they want me on stage, then I'm going to be on stage my way. But it took a year of enduring that, of singing at places for 3 and 4 hours, and I get home and I ain't got no voice. Not because I'm not singing properly, but because the band is on 10 and I'm on 2. And it, just because I'm Black, it's not right.
Kwame, first of all, can we remember to get a clip of this last 5 minutes, 2 minutes? Because Tymara just said Black women cannot be replaced. I just need to mentally remember. We're gonna get that clip and put that out there because you just dropped the bomb.
Thank you.
Amazing. While we're talking about looks, I'm glad you brought this up. So recently, Chris Rock came out with this special, right? Kind of on the heels of last year's infamous slap. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and we all saw that, and keep my wife's name out of your mouth. I vividly remember you did a video. You did a very passionate video, which first of all, I never knew or I never would have thought about you and alopecia. Mm-hmm. Never even, honestly, your hair never crossed my mind. And when I saw that video, it just made me think because I'm not attached to my hair. I have dreads. I'll be the first one to admit I'm balding in the middle. I don't care. And when it all falls out, I'll just shave it. So I was always, I had an attitude what's the big deal? It's hair. You look amazing. Women that I see that are bald look amazing. But when you did that video, I was like, you know what, Daryl? You kind of have it wrong. So in talking about looks, can you just speak to that one with your look? You rock a bald head like nobody's business, right?
Thank you.
And your confidence is amazing. So, one, just talk about that whole thing with being bald and your experience with that, and how did you even gain confidence? Because when I saw that video, I was just so blown away by your transparency and how raw you were, but also, I've never been cruel or anything, but I felt man, I feel bad because I never thought about a woman's experience in her hair in the way that you put it.
It is, hair is a very unique experience for every single woman. And with Black women, we didn't do it, but the stigma was created that Black women can't grow hair. I remember being in elementary, middle school, and I'm in Ohio, and some girls moved there from New York. And in New York, braids were, it was already happening. They was already doing micro braids and big dookie braids and cornrows and adding hair and everything, but it wasn't happening in Ohio, in the Midwest. And so when they moved there, I remember they were sisters. They used to drag them girls, talking about you got horsehair in your head, you ain't got no hair, you bald headed, da 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 da. Had nothing to do with me, but their experience traumatized me a lot because I really felt Keisha and Tasha, that was their names. And it made it such a big deal. And then I always had a head full of hair. I remember my father being so mad because my senior prom, that's when I decided to go to the Halle Berry from Boomerang haircut. And he was a pastor. You done cut your glory. Bye. So it really mattered, and my father was a huge hair man. But here's the deal. You have to respect that it's different for every woman because I do have alopecia, but I have triggered alopecia. Mm-hmm. It's different. It's that is what was diagnosed from a dermatologist. And what happened was when I was 19 years old, I was in an abusive relationship. And the guy that I was with, excuse me, put me in a car and tried to drive me from my college town, Bowling Green, to Toledo, Ohio, 20 miles. The car broke down because the car was as raggedy as he was. And his intention was to leave me on the side of that. Mind you, I had on a shirt and underwear because that he
Nothing
snatched
else.
me from nothing else. No shoes, no coat, nothing. And it's October. And he actually, it was right after my 19th birthday. And so he throws me in the car. I have nothing on. And he wanted to leave me there in that car. Before he got out, I had one of those earrings in the top of my ear. He squeezed it into my ear. And I had micro braids. And he grabbed my braids right here and snatched them. Took out 17 braids total. Okay. What my dermatologist, first question that he asked back in Ohio was, were you bleeding? And I said, no. And he said, that's not great. Because the fact that there was no blood when he did that means that he went deep enough to grab follicles, not just your skin, but it probably won't grow back. And it didn't. And so, you know, I'm going on through college. I still got these micro braids, but now they start back here and back here. And so now I have to go to my sisters. We are not nice. We can be very not nice. And I had a lot of chicks that were supposed to be my friends, but mostly the ones who were my enemies and my frenemies. They called me bald-headed. They judged me for not having edges. They, you know, always made jokes like, you know, passive jokes because I will ladies' hands. I will ladies' hands. So it was always really passive aggressive type stuff like, oh, girl, we about to go to the club. Let me get this gel for my edges.
I call that nice nasty. That's that nice nasty stuff.
Yeah. So they would do that type stuff. And then it was people that I didn't even know. Like, you know, social media came about and I still had, I think by this time, oh yeah, I was still doing braids and I still had this missing. And, you know, I would get nobody would comment on my post because I let you know that I had something to say. But I would see it later and they was talking about me and calling me bald-headed and everything else. And I'm out here at that time trying to sing about the blood of Jesus. And folks are just worried about my edges. So then they like, well, maybe you should wear a wig. That's when I discovered that that's not for me because number one, the wigs got them combs and they need to go into your hair right here. I didn't have none. And so I was, you know, they had the lace front wigs and I was trying to make those work. And I had folks talking about me about that because that was sliding and you could see where the hair should be. And so now we're like, I'm moving into Vegas now. There was a lot of chicks who met me and they were my nice, nasty frenemies. And to my face, it was, oh, girl, I got to work with you. But then they talking to the wrong people and telling them, well, she bald-headed. I mean, she can sing, but she ain't never going to do nothing because she bald-headed.
Really?
I had to, oh, honey. And they're not only are they right here still in Vegas doing less than me, but they're also probably watching this video at some time. Hey, girl.
Hey, y'all.
Hi,
how you doing? Hey.
So I had to make a decision. Was I going to let that bother me? And I was just like, you know, I'm tired of trying to find these styles. I'm trying to get quick weaves that start here and being bald here makes sense. And then it was just like my mother, who also experiences hair loss right here. She said, menopause is whooping me. I got to cut this hair off. And she made, I think my husband did it, just cut all her hair off. We look just alike. When I just like, and when I saw that pretty face with them green eyes, I said, oh, okay. And decided to cut it off. And it was, you know, a lot of people are like, you so brave. I'm not brave. God gave me a model. I was looking at Kay and was like, oh, she did that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So now I am very confident about it. And I'm gonna give a shout out where it's due. The sweet potato pie man, Jeremy Washington, is a whole lot of the reason that I made the final decision to cut it off, because right around the time that I was losing my mind with folks talking about me, he got on social media and said, I'm gay, y'all. So that's my truth. Yeah, right around the same time. He was like, I'm gay. This is what it is. Y'all been saying it and whispering it forever, but I'm gay and I'm still fabulous and I'm still going to be a millionaire by 40 and I'm still baking these pies and I'm still making these cookies. And I was like, so He ain't singing, but he's on a platform doing what he's doing. And if he can do it, I can do it. And then my mother did it, and I said, God is sending me all these signs. Cut it off.
I'm getting chills. Big shout out to Mama K in the audience. We see you, and huge shout out to Jeremy Washington, who is just an amazing influencer, entrepreneur, and just, So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We're going to go to commercial because I know your manager said make sure you talk about all the stuff you got going on. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. We're going to play a little game of song association when we come back with the interview with Tymara Walker. I'll see y'all in 1 and 2. We'll be back. All right, we are back with my guest, Tymara Walker. This is going absolutely amazing. So we are going to play a game called Song Association. I absolutely love Daryl, if you follow him on YouTube. And so he plays this little game where I say a word, and you have about 10 seconds, right, to say the song that comes to your mind. It can be in the title. It can be in the word. All right?
Okay.
It's okay if you're not warmed up. Now, my girl Maya, she was on last week. Did she get all the words? No, she didn't. And that's okay because you're gonna do it different. You're gonna get all the words. Okay, let's start. Okay, the first word is love.
Love by Music Soul Child.
Okay, you got to sing it, baby. You got to sing it.
Love, so many things I got to tell you. But I'm afraid I don't know how, 'cause there's a possibility that you look at me differently, love.
Yes, I love your voice.
Thank you.
First of all, I was just thinking earlier, no one sounds like you. I can't think of anybody who sounds like you, honestly. And I was like, you, Angie Fisher, and Tony Scruggs are the only true sopranos. Like every time you sing and you go all the way up here, you do it so effortlessly.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So I gotta ask you, has your husband made you sing better?
Yes. Yes, because first of all, in case nobody knows, my husband is 6 foot and all 7 inches tall. And my ex-husband was this tall. So the difference, absolutely. First of all, he's increased my confidence. But a lot of people don't know that John was the one that told me in 2011, like, babe, you killing. But can you like move? You just be standing there and just sing the hell out of anything. Like, can you just like get involved or something? That's really where it kind of took off.
And I just bring up your husband because how did you find love or find a place to be in love after your experiences, after being a domestic, being in an abusive relationship, after someone pulling out your hair, having these traumatic experiences? Because I think a lot of women and just people in general would love to hear, how did you overcome that to love again, to trust again?
So I'm going to tell you, I didn't find it. He found me. We actually met when we were 11 years old, when my daddy broke ground to build that church, because John's grandfather was also a pastor of a church in Toledo, and he came to the groundbreaking and he brought John. And it was on October 16th, 1989, my 11th birthday. And John was already 11, and I told him it was my birthday, and he said, "Don't nobody care about your birthday." And I determined that I was gonna hate that dude for the rest of my life.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's where it started. And then we ended up, he went to an all boys high school, I went to an all girls high school. We lost touch. 17 years later, he found me on Facebook after the divorce, after more domestic violence, because that dude I was married to put alcohol in my contacts lens and almost burned out my left eye. So I was done. I wasn't like some women be like, "Oh, okay, I'm done, so I'm gonna move on to women." I ain't want nobody. I was good with having my 2 kids and just being alone all my life. I tried to ignore John when he found me on Facebook Messenger, and he wrote back and said, "That's so cute that you're trying to ignore me, but I'm a very competitive person and I always win. So when you're done with that, let me know. I'll be right here." And I was like, no, he didn't. But okay. And that's where it started. And we have been together ever since.
I love
And
it.
he let me heal. Like I told him about everything I went through. And the reason the relationship lasted, I'm not gonna say it was perfect, because it wasn't. We're both the oldest. We're both very headstrong. He's a Gemini, so it's 2 of him. We went through a lot, but he let me heal and let me deal with all that trauma from my first marriage and took a lot of the brunt of that. And
Wow.
here we are.
Okay, we're running out of time, but I'm gonna squeeze everything in here.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. Passion.
Period. That's my single that's out right now. Okay, I know we run out of time, but let me tell y'all, got to know this story. So my manager, his name is Daniel Robles. He found, actually, his mama found me while I was singing in the Elvis show at Harris. And I sang Precious Lord at the beginning of the show. And she told him, "Hey, I know the show is about Elvis, but she's the star of the show. She need to do something." So he approached me, him and his husband. He approached me and said, "You should be famous. And I think that I'm the one that's supposed to get you there." So I said, "Okay." We get together, we start talking. He said, "You got all this voice and all this presence and this look. Let's try house music." I was crazy enough to say, okay. Like I had listened to it, but I hadn't really delved into it like that. And then he started telling me about Lady Hazel, who had done this song decades ago. And he's like, you got the perfect voice for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I was a little pensive, but Daniel don't really take no mess. And he is quick to check me when I'm like, "Oh, I don't think." He was like, "I didn't ask you to think, sis. I asked you to sing. So meet me at the studio." And now there's 2 versions and there's 2 music videos. I've never had a music video before. He and his husband handle all of the tech side of what I'm doing. Like they've created this website. They are directing me on how to handle my social media. And now he got me to the point I've got a whole album finished.
Okay, first of all, do you understand how loved you are? Like, I'm just looking in the comments, Daniel wrote, well, Daniel just said, "Tymara's a superstar, happy she's finally getting the, what she truly," and you know what, let me just say this, Daniel, this is not even the surface of what Tymara is going to experience in her career. Like, one, I have to say that you are a poster child and a true example of resilience, but not only that, but just like, I want to say this in the best way possible, but a lot of times we put age and youth on things, and we feel like if we haven't done this thing by this certain time, that it's over. So I got to go the way the conversation is going. We'll do song association another day, but number one, I'm amazed by your story. And every time we talk, like I just learned so much more about you. But what would you say to those young girls, to those middle-aged, to just women, period, who are out there who are like, you know what? I've given up on my dreams. I got to be a mom. I'm over this career because, it didn't work out for me. So I'm 35 now, or I'm 55 now. What do you say to all of those people, like with your experience?
So my experience says your age has nothing to do with it. Women, especially Black women, the cliche thing has always been that we don't do what we want to do. We do what we have to do. And we love to go to I got to take care of these kids. But let me tell you real quick what God did. I tried to quit. I told you, I tried to be done. So what he did was let me give birth to my whole band. So I can't use the excuse that I can't be a superstar because I have to be a mother because my son is my damn drummer. Like, my daughter is my bass guitar player. He literally put them in my life to show me that there is no time, no limit, no kid, no nothing that says I can't do it. Ladies, you do not have to not do something because you're not at a certain age. I do not weigh 125 pounds and won't, because I'm an excellent cook. Now I'm going to tone it up and keep it tight and keep it bright because Mr. Walker likes it that way. But I'm not ever going to be 120. I'm never going to be 21 again. My daughter's 21. But right here at 44, I'm telling y'all that the goal is to be the queen of house music. It's to win my Grammys for house music. It's to have my house music singles and album licensed playing in Tyler Perry movies. And Tyler, you listening, Mr. Perry? If you need a house song for one of your stripper scenes, I got a couple for you. Like, there's nothing that is limiting what I can do. And I want women all over the world to know that age ain't nothing but a number that your birth certificate confirms. Other than that, you are just the woman that you are. Don't give up on nothing. Because I still, Brooklyn is now playing at the club that I was playing at last year. I'm watching things go full circle. My son at 17 is one of the most in-demand drummers in this city. He got too much to be able to take people's gigs. But just because my kids are doing that does not mean Tymara's finished. We're going to do this together. Don't ever give up. Never. Don't ever give up. And Black women, we can do what we want to do. I promise you we can. We can. I promise you we can.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for everything that you do. I literally have chills right now. Thank you for being on the show. Okay, last thing, because I just love your voice. Final song. What is the song that Tymara goes to get her through tough times?
So this is hilarious because I just said I was not going to ever sing gospel music again, but it's a gospel song. It is, but it's actually by a gospel artist, one of few that I can relate to. You want me to sing it?
You don't have to if you don't want to. I know you be singing all day. Just a little snippet.
Absolutely. Okay. Lord, deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me, yeah. Oh, why hurt me so, Lord, deliver me, 'cause all I seem to do is hurt me, hurt me, yeah.
Tell the people where they can find you. What gigs do you have coming up? Where can they go see you? Everything Tymara. You tell us.
Okay. First of all, the next single of mine that will be released is Addicted, with the album release, which is coming in May. Daniel, if I'm wrong, just put it in the comments, but that's what I believe he told me. Passion is available right now on all streaming platforms. I know it's all I've been talking about, but it's because I need y'all to go get the song. I need y'all to listen.
Go
I need y'all
get
to stream.
the
I need y'all to
song.
download. Go get it. Go get it.
We
The cover-
voguing. We death dropping.
Look
Get the
this.
t-shirts.
Okay, that's what the cover looks like. Period. Yes, please. My website is tymarasings.com. All the merch is there. And I'll be in New York at SOB's April 21st. That's it.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Remember to mind your business, stay hydrated, and keep Will Smith's name. Keep Will Smith's name out your mouth.
Out your mouth. Out.
All right, peace, y'all. See you later.
Bye, y'all.